Most people live their entire lives without truly knowing who they are. They wake up, go to work, scroll through their phones, chase goals that don't belong to them, and call that living. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you stopped and truly asked yourself, who am I? The ancient Greeks had a phrase carved into the walls of the Temple of Apollo: know thyself. Thousands of years later, it's still one of the hardest things a human being can do. Because to know yourself means to face the truth about who you really are, your strengths, your fears, your habits, your darkness, and your light. It means standing naked in front of your own soul and saying, I see you. But here's the paradox. You can't know yourself until you admit that you don't. You have to start with humility, the radical humility of understanding your own ignorance. You may think you know yourself, but be honest. How well can you actually control your thoughts, your emotions, your actions? How often do you say one thing and do another? How many times have you broken promises to yourself? That's not judgment, that's awareness. And it's the first step toward real transformation. Think about this. You are the only person who will spend every second of your life with you. Yet most people are complete strangers to themselves. They know more about celebrities, friends, or even fictional characters than they know about their own mind. So where do you start? You start by watching yourself. Watch yourself like you're observing a stranger. Pay attention to the words that leave your mouth. Ask, what kind of person says that? Notice what makes you angry, what makes you jealous, what makes you come alive. These reactions are not random. They are mirrors reflecting your inner world. Every time you feel envy, it's pointing to something you desire but haven't admitted. Every time you feel anger, it's showing you where you feel powerless. And every time you feel joy, it's revealing what truly matters to you. The emotions you resist are often the keys to who you are. You see, self-awareness isn't some spiritual buzzword. It's a skill, a discipline that can be learned and sharpened every day. Start by giving yourself 10 quiet minutes each day. No phone, no music, no distractions, just you and your thoughts. Breathe. Listen. Don't judge what comes up, just observe. You'll be surprised how much noise lives inside your head. That's not a sign of failure. That's where self-understanding begins. Then look at your life like a map. Where have you succeeded? Where have you failed? What patterns keep repeating? Be honest, because your patterns will keep running your life until you face them consciously. Every failure carries a lesson. Every success leaves a clue. If you're brave enough to analyze both, you'll start to see who you really are beneath the surface. But here's something powerful. Knowing yourself isn't just about finding peace. It's about discovering your potential. Because once you see your flaws clearly, you also begin to see what you could become. You realize that within your fear lies courage, within your chaos lies order, and within your weakness lies untapped strength. Maybe you've been avoiding something. A project, a dream, a difficult conversation. You look at it and feel fear, shame, or laziness, so you ignore it. But each time you avoid it, that fear grows stronger and you grow smaller. Here's a challenge. Tomorrow, face it for just 15 seconds. That's it. 15 seconds of honesty. Open that file you've ignored for weeks. Make that call. Look yourself in the mirror and admit the truth. It's not much, but it's everything. Because courage doesn't come from big moments. It grows from small victories stacked day after day. Self-understanding begins when you stop pretending to be perfect and start being real. When you can look at your flaws without hating yourself. When you can admit your ignorance without losing your dignity. That's where power lives. That's where growth begins. And yes, it takes humility to say, I don't know who I am yet. But that humility is not weakness, it's strength. Because only those who admit they don't know can begin to learn. Remember this: the person you are today is not the final version of you. You are a work in progress, unfinished, evolving, becoming. And every moment of honesty moves you closer to your truth. Understanding yourself isn't about reaching perfection, it's about becoming whole. So tonight before you sleep, ask yourself, what did I feel today? What did I fear today? What did I avoid today? And most importantly, why? If you keep asking those questions long enough, one day the answers will start to change because you will have changed. This is not an easy journey. It's not about finding comfort. It's about finding clarity. You will lose illusions, false identities, and old beliefs, but what you gain is priceless. You gain yourself. In part 2, we'll go deeper into your core values, the beliefs that guide your choices, and how to align your daily life with who you truly are. Because the more you understand yourself, the more powerful your life becomes. And that's the greatest journey of all. You've started to look inside yourself. You face the noise, the chaos, the fear, but now comes the next step, understanding why you are the way you are. Because self-awareness without direction is like a compass with no north. You might know what you feel, but if you don't know what you stand for, the world will decide that for you. Let's talk about your core values. Your values are the invisible forces that drive every decision, every emotion, and every reaction you have. They're the roots beneath the surface of your life. And when you don't know what they are, you end up living someone else's story. So how do you find them? Start by asking yourself, what moments in my life made me feel truly alive? When did I feel proud? Not proud because others praised me, but proud because I was in alignment with myself. And then ask the opposite. When did I feel empty, angry, betrayed? Because pain always reveals your principles. If you were furious when someone lied to you, maybe honesty is one of your deepest values. If you felt lost when your creativity was ignored, maybe self-expression is sacred to you. Your emotions are not your enemies, they're messengers. They tell you what truly matters. For years, many of us live on autopilot. We chase money, titles, approval, followers, things that sound like success but feel like emptiness. And one day we wake up and realize we've built a life that looks good on the outside, but feels wrong on the inside. That's the cost of not knowing your values. So I want you to imagine this. You're standing in the middle of a storm. Everything around you is spinning. Jobs, relationships, pressure, opinions. If you don't have roots, you'll be swept away. But if you know your values, if you've planted them deep, nothing can move you. You'll bend, but you won't break, because you're anchored to truth. Take a piece of paper tonight. Write down the 5 things that matter to you most. Don't think about what should matter. Forget what society, family, or social media say. Ask yourself, what feels right? It could be honesty, growth, freedom, kindness, discipline, family. Whatever they are, those are the coordinates of your soul. And when life gets confusing, those 5 words will guide you home. But knowing your values is just one side of the mirror. The other side is learning to understand your emotions, especially the negative ones. See, most people run from their pain. They hide behind distractions, food, entertainment, or fake positivity. But ignoring your emotions doesn't make them disappear. It just buries them alive. And buried emotions don't die. They grow roots in your subconscious, shaping every decision you make. True self-understanding begins when you stop running and start listening. When anger rises, don't suppress it. Ask, what is this anger protecting? When sadness visits, don't numb it. Ask, what is this sadness trying to teach me? When jealousy burns, don't shame yourself. Ask, what desire is hiding beneath this envy? Every emotion has intelligence. Every feeling is feedback. Let me tell you something powerful. Mastering your emotions doesn't mean being emotionless. It means being honest with yourself without being controlled by yourself. It means you can feel anger without turning cruel, sadness without giving up, fear without running away. That's emotional maturity. And when you reach it, you gain freedom, real freedom. Because freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's being able to choose how you respond. You will not always like what you discover about yourself. You'll see parts that are selfish, weak, insecure, afraid. But don't turn away from them. The goal is not to eliminate those parts, it's to understand them. Because every shadow holds a story. And until you face it, that story will control you. Carl Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." So the next time someone triggers you, don't ask, "What's wrong with them?" Ask, "What is this revealing about me?" That's how awareness turns into wisdom. And here's something else. You don't have to walk this journey alone. Talk to people you trust, friends, mentors, even professionals. Ask them how they see you. Sometimes others notice truths about us that we're too close to see ourselves. But remember, take every opinion with awareness. Use it as a mirror, not a cage. Let others reflect, but never define you. As you begin to understand your values and emotions, something incredible happens. You start making choices that feel right, not because they're easy, not because they're popular, but because they're aligned. And alignment, that's where peace lives. When your thoughts, words, and actions all point in the same direction, life stops feeling like a war. It becomes harmony. Self-understanding isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming authentic. When you know who you are, you stop performing. You stop needing validation. You stop comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel. You simply live your truth, even if it's quiet, even if no one claps. Because authenticity is the loudest sound in a noisy world. So keep learning, keep observing, keep asking hard questions, and never be afraid of your own reflection. Because the person you're becoming is worth the honesty it takes to get there. In part 3, we'll explore the final stage of self-understanding, how to align your actions with your identity so that your daily habits reflect your true self. Because knowing who you are is powerful, but living as who you are, that's freedom. You've looked within. You've faced your fears. You've discovered your values. Now comes the hardest part, living it. Because knowing who you are means nothing if you don't live like it. Understanding yourself is the theory. Living as yourself, that's the practice. And practice means discipline, courage, and consistency. It means choosing your truth even when it costs you comfort, approval, or popularity. It means standing alone sometimes, but never feeling lost. Let me tell you a secret. Most people don't fail because they don't know what to do. They fail because they're afraid to become what they already know they could be. They fear their own potential. Because living honestly requires the death of the old self, the one built on lies, habits, and excuses. And that kind of death is painful. But growth always is. Transformation always requires sacrifice. So if you truly want to live as your real self, start with one question. What am I pretending not to know? Because deep down, you already know which job is killing your spirit. You know which relationship no longer aligns with your values. You know which habits are draining your confidence, your focus, your purpose. But it's easier to say, "I'm confused," and then to say, "I'm afraid." And that's why most people stay stuck. So stop waiting for clarity to magically appear. Start acting on what you already know. Clarity doesn't come before action. It comes from action. Every step you take reveals the next one. Every honest decision sharpens the image of who you are. That's how self-understanding becomes self-mastery. But here's the truth no one tells you. Living authentically will challenge you. The world will test you to see if you really mean it. You'll be tempted to go back to old habits, old identities, old comfort zones. When that happens, remind yourself, I've already met that version of me. I've already lived that life. I'm not going back. Because once you've tasted authenticity, imitation will always feel empty. You might lose people. You might lose opportunities, but you'll never lose yourself again. And that's worth everything. You see, being true to yourself doesn't mean doing whatever you want. It means aligning what you want with what's right. It means making choices that reflect your values, even when no one is watching. Integrity is not about perfection, it's about consistency. It's about showing up as yourself every single day, especially when it's inconvenient. So ask yourself daily, are my actions matching my values? If you say you value growth, are you learning every day? If you say you value health, are you honoring your body? If you say you value honesty, are you being real or just rehearsed? Your life will always reveal your truth louder than your words ever could. And here's where many people struggle. They think being authentic means being comfortable. But the opposite is true. Living your truth will make you uncomfortable because you'll outgrow everything fake. Your comfort zone will start to feel too small for the person you're becoming. And that's how you'll know you're on the right path. So don't run from discomfort. Run toward it with awareness. Because every time you choose truth over comfort, your soul expands. You become stronger, freer, more alive. Take action, even if it's small. Write that journal, start that business. End that toxic friendship, speak your truth. Every honest act sends a message to your subconscious. I can trust myself. And trust is the foundation of self-understanding. Without it, your life will always feel unstable, no matter how much success you have. So build that trust. Keep the promises you make to yourself, no matter how small they seem. Wake up when you said you would. Finish what you started. Apologize when you're wrong. These are the bricks that build an authentic life. And please don't expect perfection. You'll make mistakes. You'll fall. But falling doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human. The goal is not to be flawless. The goal is to be real. When you stumble, pause and ask, what can I learn from this? Then rise again, stronger and wiser. That's how truth turns into power. Remember this. Every day you are rewriting your story. Not through words, but through choices. And when those choices align with your values, your purpose, your truth, that's when peace finally arrives. That's when you stop chasing happiness and choices and start living it. So live your truth, even if it's quiet, even if it's messy. So even if it scares you, because the world doesn't need another copy. It needs you, the real you, the one who knows their flaws, owns their dreams, and walks their path with courage. And when you live like that, you inspire others to do the same. You become proof that authenticity is strength. You become a reminder that it's okay to start over, to rebuild, to grow. That self-understanding isn't an end, it's a beginning. You are not behind, you are not lost, you are simply becoming. And that is the most beautiful journey of all.